Well, yet more limbs at the Brentford Community Stadium as Brentford steal 3 points in the dying embers of the game. They were 1-0 down in I think the 85th minute or something like that, and somehow, some way, came back to win 2-1 over Claudio Ranieri's Watford, as I said, at the Brentford Community Stadium. Absolute limbs at the end there with Mbeumo's penalty, and just as cool as you like, really. I mean, the coolest guy in the stadium just absolutely rolls it in, Ivan Toney style, in Ivan Toney's absence, of course, and to be honest, I thought it wasn't even the best of games, but it doesn't matter. Brentford will take that win. It takes them 10 points now above the relegation zone, so they're already, on 20 points, halfway already towards that, 40-point mark, which is the so-called mark you need to, ensure survival in the Premier League. But Brentford will definitely take it. Watford, cruel on them, but that's football. So let's get into analysing this game. So in terms of how the game went, in my personal opinion anyway, I think it was a game that, it was a bit weird because I think that Watford actually did quite play well, and to be fair, in my personal opinion anyway, judging by what I saw in the match, probably deserved a point at the very least. I thought that when they went 1-0 up, of course, through Emmanuel Dennis, I thought they held on to their lead really, really well until they, conceded that equaliser from Pontus Jansson. A really, really good header from Emmanuel Dennis, even though he was given, way too much time in the box, and he didn't even have to make a move. He literally stood there, jumped, headed the ball, went into the back of the net, as basic as that, really. And it was poor defending from Brentford, who are a team that you would say normally are quite good from set pieces, which really is surprising to me, how they let Dennis have a free header there. But Emmanuel Dennis has really been a revelation for Watford this season so far, and to think that he cost them less than £5 million, he's been an absolutely unbelievable signing for Watford, and definitely has paid dividends so far with his goal output and his assist return as well. And Josh King, who cost absolutely nothing as well, a free agent, and the two of them have really kind of stepped up in the absence of Ismaila Sarr so far, who of course has been injured the last few weeks. But that front three that Watford have with Sarr, Dennis and King, it looks like a very good Premier League quality front three, and I think it's definitely going to play a massive impact on whether or not Watford can survive or not. It would have been a really, really, really big 3 points for Watford, and I think that the likes of Newcastle, Norwich and Burnley will be saying their prayers to the football gods tonight, because if Watford had won that, there would have been a 6 point gap between 17th, which would have still been Watford, and the relegation zone, which of course, as I said, would have been Newcastle, Burnley and Norwich. And even though those three teams would have had games in hand over Watford, because of course Watford have now played a game more likewise with Brentford, it still would have been 6 points at this stage of the season would have been a pretty hefty return. And I think it would have been safe to say that probably two of those sides would already, you'd have to say maybe, guaranteed relegation if that was the case. But Brentford have of course pulled it off with those two late goals from Pontus Jansson, a very good header of course, like redirecting the header from I think it was Marcus Fors, and then the penalty from Bryan Mbeumo, a stonewall penalty, a stupid challenge from Trusty Kong really, and kind of cruel on Watford, because I think they defended relatively well for the entirety of the game. Even though Brentford dominated possession and created some very good chances, they were really, really struggling to break down that Watford defence without Ivan Toney, and without having that presence up front, and without having that almost focal point up front, because Ivan Toney is so important to this Brentford team, not only on the ball but with his aerial ability as well, and his link-up play, and obviously he's the main goal scorer. He didn't score 34 goals in the Championship or wherever it was last season for no reason. So I think Watford will be kicking themselves, Claudio Ranieri will be kicking himself, and Watford really, really should have come away with at the very least a point, but that's football at the end of the day. And one thing we have to give Brentford credit for as well is not one of the players, not one of the actual staff, but the fans. I mean, the fans are the 12th man for Brentford. Their stadium is absolutely electric every single week they play there, and they deserve immense credit because they're the 12th man for that Brentford team. They're constantly behind the players, constantly making noise, and got their just reward today with the penalty. Brentford fans really were unbelievable tonight once again, like they were on the opening day against Arsenal when I watched that game and done a video on this channel about it, and picked up their third home win of the season. Of course, as I mentioned, that game against Arsenal, and of course they did beat Everton a few weeks ago at home as well, so an unbelievable result for Brentford in all honesty. But in terms of both sides, chances of survival really, because of course even though Brentford are exceeding everyone's expectations except for mine, I predicted Brentford would do this well because they're a very well run club, they play some very good football and have a very good team as well, to be fair, even without Ivan Toney. And even in saying that as well, Watford were missing Ismaila Sarr, as I said earlier on as well, so it was kind of like both teams were missing their marquee player. But back to the actual point I was making anyway, I think Brentford will be safe now. I think they picked up enough points already. Obviously 20 points won't be enough to stay up, but I think that Brentford will, between now and the end of the season, pick up 15-20 points, and I think Brentford will be safe. And to be honest, I can see Brentford finishing around mid-table. I predicted them to finish, I think it was 12th in my Premier League predictions earlier in the season. And in terms of Watford as well, I think Watford have an okay chance. I think the only thing about Watford is I think they might struggle to pick up points as consistently as the teams around them. Newcastle are going to get better in January and start picking up points on a consistent basis. Burnley might be able to get themselves back in it as well because Sean Dyche is just an unbelievable manager, at keeping teams up. Norwich, one of those teams that are just about getting going. I don't know if they'll be able to pick up enough points, but I would worry if I was a Watford fan, but at the same time, I do think they have the capabilities to stay up. As I said, they've got a very good front three for Premier League level. I think it's just their defence, really. I think Watford are leaking too many goals, as we saw today. Some stupid defensive mistakes cost them the game, really, today, and I think that Watford, if they're going to survive, I think Ranieri needs to bring in 2 or 3 defenders, at most, really, for Watford in January if they are going to have a chance of staying up, because their midfield as well, Sissoko and Cleverley and Kutska as well, the 3 of them have played really, really well so far in Ranieri's tenure. So I think the only problem really for Watford is the defence, and if they don't get that sorted out, they're going to continue to leak goals. And the most important thing when you're playing at the bottom of the table is to not concede goals as consistently as Watford are. So that might be their downfall this season, Watford under Claudio Ranieri. Having said that, they do have a lot of spirit, they play with a lot of fight and a lot of desire, and they do have a very good team going forward on the counter-attack as well, as I said. So it will be interesting to see whether Watford can conquer Premier League survival this season. But I think that's where we're going to leave this video now. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to drop a like. It would be massively appreciated by myself, and also if you could subscribe to the channel as well, that would also be massively appreciated. We are looking to hit 1.7k subscribers on this channel. If you're a fan of Brentford or Watford, make sure you subscribe. We're going to be doing a lot more videos on just any Premier League team in general. Even though I am a Chelsea fan, I like to kind of admire the entire league rather than just my own club. So leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and I will talk to you guys later. So yeah, see ya.